and welcome to episode infinity of Lesbian Talk.
That'd be really great, just like the infinity symbol.
The episode never ends because it never actually begins.
We'll pull it closer.
Oh no.
It's not video, it's only audio. They don't know that we pulled it closer, except for just
and they could hear it dragging.
Shut up. Everything is fine, nothing is ruined.
You are so professional with this whole thing.
I'm very tired. It's been a very long few weeks.
Yep. Okay, well, there's a reason you're getting a Lesbian Talk from Omega instead of a second Psych Media, but she can explain that because this is technically her show.
Well, no, I put on Twitter that there's only going to be one episode of Psych Media this month because I had a lot to do, academically speaking and retail speaking and every kind of speaking. But, so I was like, oh, we can do a Lesbian Talk because we haven't done that in quite a while. Sorry, fans of the show.
Yeah, because Omega's like, I would rather spend much more hours doing something on Psych Media because reasons.
It's a Patreon thing, so I feel like people are supporting me for it. They should get results. Lesbian Talk you get for free.
I would imagine that if you put Lesbian Talk into the Patreon thing, some people might not be too happy about it because it objectively takes less work.
Well, the Patreon is just for Psych Media. It's not for my channel. So.
If this became part of it, people might get upset.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, but then again, there's like what? There's almost like 120 episodes now.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hours. Yeah. You can just sit and listen to us.
Yeah, like
bullshit about.
You could do it for like days.
Just days of us.
But it's the same reason I don't patronize Renegade Cunt or Flubs. Although Renegade Cunts sometimes take a lot of work. Although there's not a lot to see at the end. I just gotta, like, for instance, I've scripted a Renegade Cunt for the Planet of the Apes movies. I've scripted it from memory. I'm now gonna have to watch the original 7 Planet of the Apes movies and the new trilogy, all of them except for Tim Burton's one, just to make sure I'm not wrong.
That's a lot of monkeys.
Yeah, so, I think I would be entirely fair in wanting Patreon for that, but it's not a Patreon thing. Renegade Cunts are not Patreon. So, yes.
So, this episode's kind of like a hodgepodge of things. There's just, like, so much stuff going on. Like,
yeah.
We're going to see, at some point, we're going to see The Disaster Artist next month.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm hoping it stays in theaters at least 3 weeks because there's a friend of mine from uni and her boyfriend want to come up from the Republic. Well, they could come up from the Republic for a weekend because we're having a uni night out, but they really want to see it with us because one of the first things that this girl said to me was, "You like movies, right?" Yeah, because I was talking with a friend of mine about a movie we'd gone to see, and she goes, "Have you ever heard of this movie? You probably haven't. It's really bad. It's like the worst movie ever. It's called The Room." And I looked at her, I'm like, "Do you know what my wife does for a living?" And I thought that was really funny.
It is kind of a whole other level. I mean, in one of my episodes, which is part finished, Max Magician, which has been it's been scripted and everything, it's been recorded, it's a Patreon request. I actually complain about people who think The Room is the epitome of bad filmmaking.
Yeah, but, like, she's not into, like, she's partially into bad films, so I guess. Then I told her about Birdemic. I don't know if she's watched it yet.
Yeah, I don't actually mean to be too insulting. It's just like my complaint is that Max Magician is so terrible, and it manages to go under the radar while everyone is convinced that something like The fucking Room is the worst film ever. And it's like, The Room is pretty bad. It's nowhere near the worst film ever made, easily.
There's so many movies that we've watched, you and I together, that are so much worse than The Room.
Yeah, but of course you got to define what bad means, I mean, objectively, if you're going badness by how cheap and crap it looks, there are a lot of films that look worse than that.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Budget doesn't always dictate goodness. Like,
That's true.
Years and years ago, I would say we are kind of friends with Zach from Indie Christian Reviews. Does he does reviewing anymore?
He doesn't do reviewing anymore. He's still on Twitter, but he unfollowed me because I suspect I was being blasphemous, and he was being polite by unfollowing me rather than bothering me.
Because I haven't heard from him in a while. But he actually directed a movie that was based on some Christian book that was quite popular.
Steps.
And but the thing is that it was quite low budget, and he wanted our honest take of it, but it wasn't bad. I mean, it was very obvious it was low budget, and that some of the people in were like him and people in his community.
Yeah.
But a point that I raised when we had him on Lesbian Talk to discuss it, passed the Bechdel test.
Yeah, it did.
It featured two women talking about something that wasn't a man.
Yeah. It's,
So, low budget shouldn't be... Like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's so low budget, it's so bad. But here's the thing. Manborg was low budget.
Yeah, Manborg was incredibly low budget.
But it was awesome.
Yeah, some people... That's why the only reason I mentioned low budget was because...
I'm not just trying to, like, say to people who might out there who might have friends who think that that's the way.
Well, my point was that it's objectively not, because The Room had quite a big budget for an independent film. It had $7 million budget.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned budget deliberately, because its budget is way higher than a lot of films which, are considered far better than it. And so whenever you're saying worst film ever, you've got to define in what way, because film's an art form, there's so many different angles you can go at it from. It's not the most horrifying film ever made. There's a hell of a lot of films which are far more viscerally disturbing or disgusting. Is that the worst thing? Is it general incompetence? Because there's a lot of films which are much more incompetent. That film...
Batman v Superman?
No, on a technical level.
I know.
On a technical level, you got The Room seems to have a bunch of competent technical people dealing with a guy who has no idea what he was doing, and eventually they didn't give a shit and they just, did whatever he said without fighting him. But the people who were working on technical bits of The Room were competent, while there's a hell of a lot of films that had incompetent people. So, again, you got to define worst.
Or the script.
Yeah, there's far worse films for scripts, too.
We are assassins. Yes, we are assassins. Every time there's bad scripting now in anything we watch, like, honey, what? We are assassins. Yes, we are assassins.
Like the...
That is, of course, a quote from the famous Assassin's Creed.
Like, The Room script is far, far, far from any good, but it's someone attempting to be fairly... It's like someone who is attempting to be have more depth and complexity than is beyond him. It's like someone reaching for greatness when not being very good.
It's like how you can tell when someone pulls out their $50 word because it's a word with 5 syllables in it, but they stress the wrong syllables and they mispronounce it or they use it incorrectly in context. But they then they stand there looking all smug. And you're like, oh, that's right. You don't know what that means. You're using it because you heard it on a television show.
Yeah.
She said like the big smug vocabulary bitch that she is.
Well, there's a lot of films which far worse scripts in that they didn't even try to do that. And there's even ones which are less competently written than The Room. I mean, The Room... There was a deleted subplot where Johnny would be revealed that he was a vampire. I don't know I think that would have made the film funnier and better and more awesome overall, but script-wise it would have tanked it even worse. But they cut it out. So it could have been worse. So, got to define what worse means.
Worse or better?
Again, you got to define what worse means. Is it good bad or bad bad?
Like, that's the kind of thing that's like, do you know that Anne Rice wrote a new book recently?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, she had said after her husband died that she would never write the character of Lestat again because he had been based off her husband. But, so apparently she did write it, and I was kind of interested in reading it, but then, because I was like, oh, well, I enjoyed the Mayfair Witch series, I kind of enjoyed the vampire stuff a bit. She got a little bit weird, but whatever,
And then she went all Jesus fanfic.
Yeah, that was weird too. But here's the thing though, it's like Lestat, and he goes to Atlantis.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? No, I can't.
He's underwater menacing them.
Actually, in World of Darkness, Blood Dim Tides, which was a source book, it was an ocean source book for it was first generation World of Darkness, and there was actually a bloodline of undersea gangrel.
What?
It was.
Do vampires need to breathe in the World of Darkness?
No.
Okay, then. Okay.
They can go underwater. But you have problems that their cells would get waterlogged, and it would be, like, they'd bloat up.
So they're all fat gangrel.
Kind of. It was one of those things where, like, no, shut up, because the World of Darkness, Blood Dim Tides was one of the most cracked out source books ever, and a lot of it was like, no, shut up, it's awesome.
Please get a copy of it. It sounds fascinating.
I have a copy of it. It's in my my library. In a in a storage unit in Westchester.
Okay, you have to get that stuff mailed
I'm
here.
a little bit worried because it's not a climate control thing, and I'm kind of concerned that if, like, we finally open up, it'll be full of mold, and I'll be really upset, but
no.
I should have my dad go and check on it. He's got the key. Anyway, podcast. But
yes.
So we're going to go see that. Hopefully if it's not going to work out, they won't get upset with us. We'll go without them. So.
I'm doubting it's going to last in our local cinema for 3 weeks. I'm severely doubting it. I really think we should take the chance to go to see it in England. Because we're going to England.
Well, let me ping her. I don't think she would have an issue with it. Let me ping her and be like, look, here's the crack.
Either go when we're in England or go on like Tuesday next week or something. Because, yes, tomorrow...
Well, Tuesday next week we will be in England.
The week after, I mean.
Oh, I am.
Because tomorrow...
Here, but it doesn't open here until the 2nd anyway.
Well, it's open in England apparently next week, at least according to the net.
Because that's Film Brain's going to that special. It doesn't.
No,
open
this is like Thursday.
Oh, okay. So that opens the 1st. The 1st is Friday.
Yeah, he's going to see his thing's on Wednesday.
Fair play.
But I'm going to. Is it Wednesday? I don't know. Film Brain has a thing. I'm going to England tomorrow.
Very early in the morning.
Yes, I'm going.
I will be sleeping.
I'm getting a 4 a.m. bus, which means very little sleeping tonight. And I'm going to get to Swindon to hang out with Film Brain probably about midday, because I got to get 2 hours to Belfast, wait in Belfast for 2 hours, get an hour and a half flight to Heathrow, and then I've just got to somehow get to Swindon. Apparently there's a bus and it takes an hour and a half, but I don't know where the fuck I have to go to get it.
Y'all been on these islands for thousands of years, and yet, your mass transit system sucks so much.
Yes, it does.
I mean, in the north, I kind of understand that, because they didn't want to get into big highway construction projects for the last several decades because of, the risk of terrorism.
Boom.
So fair play. But England, y'all have been there for so long.
Yep.
People, you have no idea. Like, getting anywhere, okay, so we can go to Belfast anytime. It's about
2 hours.
Well,
hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half. Maybe 2 hours in the bus, but depending on who's driving, like with your dad driving, it's like an hour and a half, really.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less. But it's such a fucking hassle, and it's so expensive. Like, you used to see a dentist. You see a doctor in Belfast every so often, and be like, oh, we're going to Belfast today. You want to come? And I'm like, yes, we'll go and do all these things, because you'd have a ride.
Yeah,
We'd go with my mother-in-law, my father-in-law.
Yeah, basically it's an excuse to see my family live in Belfast, so a bunch of us would all go down and then get a meal and stuff.
Yeah. But now it's like, we could go to Belfast, we could spend, it's like £20 round trip now.
Is it? I thought it was more like 12 for the return.
Well, I feel like it's more than that. I feel like it's I feel like every time we expect it to be less, it's not.
That's a possibility.
I mean, I would kind of like to go to the Christmas market, but then again, we're also going to the one in Amsterdam, which is probably better.
Yeah, we're doing Amsterdam too.
Oh yeah, by the way, FYI.
But why am I going to England tomorrow?
Oh, sorry, I was whinging about mass transit. To see Film Brain?
Well, yes, I'm going to see Film Brain, but what else am I doing?
Well, the reason we're going to London, because I'm actually leaving on Tuesday, meeting you in London, is we're going to eat exotic food.
That's part of it.
We're also seeing a researcher. Was he a researcher or a lecturer?
He's a professor.
He's a professor.
I believe he's a professor.
He's from America, right?
Yeah. University of Maine.
Russell Potter, who is one of the foremost experts on Sir John Franklin's doomed expedition.
Yep.
Something you know about because, of course, you've been watching all of Hagen's
history videos on the subject.
Historical tragedy videos.
So if you have or if you haven't, part 4 of my Franklin expedition videos, I talk about the cutlery, and that's what the lecture we're going to is going to be about.
It's going to be like that.
And we're going to fan over him.
That's why academia is so awesome. It's that he's coming from America to the Maritime Museum, where they're having this big exhibit about the Franklin expedition, specifically to lecture about silverware. Like, he's probably written a paper specifically about silverware. See, academia is so awesome, because you're like, I am the foremost expert on this wee little eeny-beeny teeny thing.
Well, if, apparently his 2 main areas of expertise are history of Arctic exploration and the history of hip-hop.
I think that's fantastic.
That is just such a good mix.
Hi, we should have gotten him the t-shirt. I feel like you should have let me pay for expedited shipping.
No.
We were going to get a t-shirt.
Yeah, there is the Straight Outta Banbridge Francis Crozier t-shirt on my
What we
Redbubble.
should have done? We should have ordered it to be delivered to the Feltham Travelodge. Called them and said we're going to pick it up when we get there.
Oh, that was another point we could have done. Oh well.
Or ordered a film brain. He'd be like, why am I getting this shirt? That's my film brain impersonation.
Well, if you think the Feltham Travelodge idea would work, you could do that theoretically.
Yeah, but now
they know where we're staying.
Yeah, but now it would be next. It would be the week after by now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'll apologize to him. But
we could post it to his uni.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to be like fanning over him because bring a book that he wrote. You need to get it signed for one of his history books about the subject. It'll be awesome. But before Omega gets there on the Tuesday, I'm going to be in Swindon with Film Brain, and on Monday we're going to film back-to-back 2 crossovers.
Crossover domination.
One for Breeders, which is...
That's so bad.
No, this is the different Breeders. This is the original Breeders.
Not the one that we saw.
Yeah. See, okay. At Alcon, I did a crossover with Film Brain for Breeders, the Paul Matthews film.
Oh, I completely forgot that part.
He did Merlin the Return and Berserker Hell's Warrior, because every Alcon we're doing a Paul Matthews film. But now we're doing 2... No, actually, sorry, we're not doing Breeders with him now. He's doing Breeders as a bad movie beatdown. We're doing crossovers for Voyage of the Rock Aliens, which is for my show, and Code of Honor for his show, which is a Craig Schaefer and Steven Seagal movie, and it's fucking awful. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. I have no idea when these are going to go up. I have like 7 episodes in post-production right now. Yeah, you do.
Like, every night she comes to bed at like something in the morning. Like maybe like an hour before my alarm's set to go off. And they'll be like, I finished the partial edit. And fall into bed.
Yeah.
Or, I got 2/3 of something cut up.
Like, the one I've been currently editing is Raising Heroes, which is one of the Alcon crossovers, which actually probably isn't going to go up until February or March, because I have so many reviews to do, and I only do so many Patreon videos a month. But I started cutting that one up and editing that because I needed something to do while I was watching The Punisher. Punisher! Yeah.
Well, Garvin and Johnny said they really enjoyed it.
The Punisher?
Yeah.
It's decent. I have complaints and non-complaints.
Garvin said it's refreshing that someone's superpower is, I just want to kill people.
The show is good, I'm not denying it. And Barenthal is the best screen version of the character. It's just, and the Netflix Marvel shows are at their best the more grounded they are, and it's very grounded, for a show set in the same universe as the Avengers. But the Punisher himself, they're going very much on the Punisher doesn't want to. The Punisher, he thinks he's killed everyone, then he's like retired from it, and then he starts again, but only he doesn't.
Wait a minute! I realized there are people in this world I haven't killed.
Yeah, by giving him definite people who killed his family, they've sort of targeted his rage. While in the comics, it's a little bit more scattershot, and that the Punisher works best when it's not a, oh no, I have PTSD. Oh no, I'm really sad and I don't want to kill people, but I'm going to be driven to it. It works better when Punisher is basically a as in veteran, who was basically turned into a serial killer, and he, instead of sadness, he's powered by rage. So like Batman will never retire from being Batman, he'll keep doing it because it's obsessive. He'll keep killing until he's put down. And that's the way more the way the character is than the way he's done in the show. But that would be harder to stomach, I think, as a main character in the show. But I wish that's the angle they took.
Oh, one of my coworkers, Carl, said that he watched part of the Justice League vlog and he agrees about the dialogue in Inhumans.
The dialogue in Inhumans is so fucking bad. Inhumans is easily the worst thing the MCU's ever done.
But we are at war with the humans. Like, I was like, what are you watching? Inhumans? Oh, why is it so bad?
I'll tell you why it's so bad. Because the asshole who's in charge of Marvel, Perlmutter, he wanted to do the Inhumans as a film, but then there was fights between him and Kevin Feige in the MCU. Kevin Feige was in charge of the MCU, but he had to go through Perlmutter, and then finally Disney was like, separated them. It was like, all right, you two! Feige, you work directly for us. Perlmutter, you're in charge of TV and comics. Piss off. And so then Perlmutter...
Piss off, ghost! He's gone.
So Feige immediately dropped Inhumans, and Perlmutter said, I'll make a TV show out of it. And then for some reason, didn't give it a big budget, didn't give it a lot of time to work on the script. Apparently it was really, really, really rushed into production. As a result, it looks terrible, and it was either filmed for, or it was adapted into IMAX, because they actually played the first couple of episodes on the fucking cinema. You know, apparently someone, probably Perlmutter, was just really, really into the idea of Inhumans, but didn't think they needed to spend anything on it.
They're inhuman. The concept sells itself.
And the really sad thing is, you could get a sort of a political show, sort of like West Wing or some sort of Vampire the Masquerade type idea with these decadent, horrible sort of, you know, nobles on the moon with superpowers. You could do something interesting
Decadent
with it.
nobles on the moon.
You could do something interesting with that. The way this show was, Inhumans was just so fucking bad. I mean, they've changed things so Maximus the Mad is a human and not an Inhuman. So, and he's angry because he's basically part of the lower class of the people, because they have a strict class system. You go through Terragenesis, and you get powers, and if your powers are good, or they have, or powerful, or whatever, you get into the higher parts of society. If they're lower, you end up in the lower parts, and you're basically a slave. And Maximus...
Oh my gosh, it's like in Xenogears.
Oh, maybe.
Like all the people of Solaris, like if you have the most powerful people are like the highest cased ones.
But Maximus, being the younger brother of the king, he basically is protected from being a slave, and he decides to revolt against this class system, and we're supposed to see him as the villain for doing this, and he doesn't even kill the nobles, he exiles them to Earth. And like in the first 3 or 4 episodes, the only people he kills are people who were directly opposing him or planning to get rid of him. And it's like they just have to give him amazingly stupid shoot the dog in the head moments, because he's clearly, there's no reason to like the Inhumans over him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, and it's like...
From the little bit I overheard.
It's fucking terrible. And even the intro was fucking bad. It's like everything about this, there is nothing that is good about this show.
If you disagree, write the show. Actually, write in the comments.
And like... Because
there's going to be someone to be like, let me tell you what.
There's nothing good. They even have Ian Henry Cusick playing human scientist. So this means for the 3rd time in the MCU, and we have a Scottish character who is a morally grey scientist. You got Fitz.
Is that a stereotype of the Scottish?
Apparently in the MCU, I can't think of MCU Scottish people that aren't actually that.
Well, Peter Capaldi in World War Z.
But this is MCU.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just thinking other
He was credited as the Who Doctor.
Morally ambiguous scientists. I think that's a coincidence. Yeah, I think it's a funny coincidence.
It is, and that was amazing. But yeah, we got the only Scottish guys in the MCU that I can think of are all morally grey scientists. You've got Fitz, you've got John Hannah on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and you've got Ian Henry Cusick in Inhumans. It's like, what the fuck? That is a really weird stereotype to invent, MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It's like creating a stereotype that all Irish people are great basketball players. It's just random things jammed together that might work. I mean, might not. I don't know. I mean, I have a cousin who was a professional basketball player in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, he's retired now, but yes.
What team did he play for?
I do not know.
Oh.
I just know he got signed up by a team. It wasn't a big team. It wasn't like a top level team. It was sort of more mid level, and he's retired and runs a hotel. I believe in Georgia now.
I don't know. It would be great if it was the Harlem Globetrotters. He's like the one Scot on the Harlem Globetrotters.
I think he got the thing because they figured, okay, you're athletic and you're tall. We can teach you how to play basketball. I think that was their logic.
Your family is very tall.
Yeah.
They're giants. They really are. First time I saw them, he was like towering above me, and I was like, "Can I marry your daughter, sir?" Although I met him literally 2 days before we got married. We went out to was it Nando's or was it not Cafe Nero? It was Cosi. Cosi is like a sandwich, kind of like it tries to be like this uptown bistro kind of sandwich. It's just a sandwich place. Went to DC, and then my father-in-law explained to me the history of Pennsylvania, which I've known since I was in 1st grade. But I didn't know how to tell him I already knew that, so I was like, oh, really?
He
Okay.
was very excited to meet you.
I know. And we gave them flavored water.
Yes. They arrived in Washington. We arrived in Washington because I was over in Baltimore with her, and we brought them flavored water and Inca Cola. Inca Cola is so good, guys. You can get it in some parts of the United States, but it's originally from Ecuador or Peru. It's awesome, though. It does for yellow what Iron Brew does for orange.
No one knows what that means except Brits.
And people who drink Iron Brew.
That's true. So what else is happening in life? You got a new video game.
Yeah, I bought Assassin's Creed Origins. See, I was sent out into the cold and windy.
You were not. You're saying, I'm going to go to the bank. Is there anything you need from Tesco?
I didn't say Tesco. I said anything you need. You're the one who made me go to Tesco, which is an extra 5 minutes walk.
No, I thought we had sage. We didn't have sage. But wasn't
you
the
did not study it enough.
I didn't. Wasn't the stuffing good?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. But anyway.
Yeah, so in Tesco I was like, I'm going to buy sage and I'm going to buy all these other things to make myself happy. And then like, holy shit, Black Friday deal. Because that's a thing over here, which is fucking stupid.
But here's the thing is no one knows how to do it right. Like, we received signage that my boss had to put up that says Black Friday sale this weekend. And people were like, what sales are going on? I'm like, oh, well, there's the buy three, get two free. So 3 for 2 sale, which has been going on for the past several weeks. It'll be going on until Christmas. And these books are half off for the past several weeks, and they will until Christmas. So this woman's like, so there's nothing special. I'm like, well, there's these deals. But you can have them now if you want. And really, my boss, like, wouldn't have put the signs up, but the district manager was coming on Friday, so he had to. But, like, all the places say, like, Black Friday deals all week. Like, nobody knows what to do over here because nobody was off on Black Friday.
Yeah, it makes no sense over here. But in Tesco, I did spot Assassin's Creed Origins for like £15 cheaper than it would normally be, even second hand.
I think that's fair.
So I was like, okay, yes, I'm picking that up. It'll be 6 months or so before I can get it for that cheap regularly. Although in this different part of the shop, in the regular DVD part or video game part, it was being sold at full retail price.
I don't know.
So depending on where you fucking pick it up, it makes no sense.
I'm just annoyed because my parents always give me a wee bit of money for Christmas and my birthday, and I decided I'm going to take that and buy a tablet. And so the tablet I was looking at Amazon, I'm like, oh, this is good. I'll just add it to my wish list so I'll be able to find it again. And it was £20 more expensive yesterday on Black Friday than it was 2 days previous when I added it to the list. And I'm really annoyed. If the price doesn't drop on Cyber Monday, I'm like, stop that, capitalism.
It's crap.
Yeah, well.
Because capitalism evil.
Yeah, but it's a pretty good Samsung tablet for under 200 quid. So.
But I also bought Spider-Man Homecoming just to troll her because she doesn't want to watch it.
Well, there's no way. How is that trolling me? Aha, I bought a thing, and I'm like, all right, scram.
It and Hulk are the only Incredible Hulk are the only MC films you don't want to watch.
No, because it doesn't have Mark Ruffalo in it.
Yeah, those ones you don't want to watch.
Yeah, that's
even though Robert Downey Jr.'s in Homecoming.
Yeah, well, I don't like Spider-Man. I don't like the character. We were talking. A whole bunch of us were talking about this at work once, and I was like, I don't care. I don't care about the embarrassing, cringy humor of being in high school. You know what? Because I was in high school once. It was embarrassing and cringy. And I'm an adult now. I don't have to deal with that. I can't empathize with the, oh no, I have an exam tomorrow, but someone is breaking things and I need to save the world. I don't care, Peter. Peter, shut up. No one cares. It's just, I don't care if he's wise talking. I don't care if he's that's the whole Peter Parker thing, is he's this nerd that everybody beats up on. Why would I want to live through that character when I've got, like, Iron Man or Captain America or, you know, like Thor or the Hulk? Like, they're raw power fantasies, you know? Like, Iron Man is rich. He's really, really rich. He's like the MCU Batman, you know? Like, Hulk is like, you know, finally I let my animal side out and just waste the lot of you, you know? Like, Captain America is like, don't worry, I'll save everyone. You know, like, even, like, Hawkeye and Black Widow are awesome. They're not like, oh no, I have to go to the prom, but I'm also Spider-Man. No. None of this stuff. Natasha don't take no shit.
Iron Man is only the MCU Batman until they come up with a Moon Knight show on Netflix.
No, I mean, like, money-wise. He's like the Bruce Wayne.
Still, he's still quite rich, Moon Knight.
Yeah, fair play. But yeah, but like, that's why I don't like Spider-Man. It's like, I don't care about Spider-Man. And I'm sorry, Spider-Man lovers out there. It's just, it's the reason why I don't read young adult. And I know a lot of millennials do really enjoy and read young adult, but here's the thing, is I don't care. I don't care about raging hormones. I don't care about love triangles. It's never a tour de force. I've never seen anything be a tour de force. I was talking about that today when we were shelving at the bookstore. And like, I know, a touching, compelling coming-of-age story. No! I've come of age. I don't care. Like, I'm at the point where, like, I don't want romance whatsoever in any book. I'm, like, reading this one book, and it's really good. I picked it up last time I was in the States. It's a, cheap mass-market paperback. It's, like, witches and magic and pirates, and it's set during the reign of Mad King George, and, but I'm kind of concerned because, like, it's kind of got almost a bodice ripper kind of cover, and I'm really afraid that it's going to take a left turn into hard romance. Going to have to be like, well, burning this.
Well, Spider-Man is far from...
Sorry, my lecture over.
It's far from one of my favorite characters in comic books. It's just, I'm familiar with the character. I don't hate the character.
I hate him for his...
I'm fine with him. So, I'm perfectly fine with seeing Spider-Man. I'm just a big MCU fan. I mean, I've seen all of the MCU stuff.
Yeah.
Which you have not. You haven't seen any of the TV stuff except for a couple of episodes of Netflix.
I'm a pleb. But so, how are you liking Assassin's Creed Origins so far?
I like Assassin's Creed games. It is fine. But it's so I'm only in Siwa.
Are they even playing lip service to the future plot anymore, or are they finally clued into what we really want?
No, there's nothing. At least I didn't pay attention to it. If there was, maybe I skipped it. But yeah, we're just in the past.
I played the intro, and then I had to go do some other things. But there's a bit where you're with your friend, the NPC, who's leading you back to this town where you used to live. And he's telling you how, like, oh, it's been so bad, the Ptolemy soldiers are just, like, killing all the people, and he tries to stick up for the people and do what good he can. But this speech is being delivered while you're both riding camels at breakneck speed through the town, and it's doing its standard, like, you just mow people down with the camel. He's like, I'm trying to do my best for the people. I'm like, then stop fucking running them over with your camel. Because people are going, ah! Like, you could literally, like insert the Wilhelm scream, and then it's just falling all over the place.
Like, I do not understand. Okay, I'm perfectly fine with with having like Egypt or whatever the setting. My only issues. If you're doing Egypt, why do late Ptolemy period? I mean, this is Egypt at its completely faded glory. It's had 300 years of being ruled by the Greeks. Now it's ruled by the Romans. It's a client state. It's basically ancient Egypt at its lowest ebb.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's going to factor into it.
It's a lot less fun though doing ancient Egypt. Glorious ancient Egypt stuff like
but
1,000 years earlier.
Like how many people are actually going to know the difference?
Me.
Okay, besides you, like. There's going to be a certain squadron of players who are like, oh, wow, I really can't wait to run around in historically accurate ancient Egypt. This is going to be so cool. But everyone else is going to be like, another Assassin's Creed. You get to kill a crocodile.
So far, it's not been 100% accurate, though, because Ptolemaic ancient Egypt had entire towns and cities that were populated by Greeks. Because there were basically... Ptolemaic Egypt, because Ptolemy, the original Ptolemy, not the one that was there complaining about the game, like 15 generations earlier, he was one of Alexander the Great's generals, and he became pharaoh, and he created a...
Make the Nile Delta great again.
He imported basically a bunch of Greeks into Egypt,
yeah.
And they became basically the upper middle class and upper class of ancient Egypt. Basically, the Egyptians were, to a large extent, under the Ptolemies, basically colonized by ancient Greece. But no, not Greece themselves. But they took over the country and became pharaoh, became the nobility, and they stayed culturally distinct to a large extent.
Well, it would be really cool if it was set during the I forget when exactly it was when everybody kind of converted over to Ra for a while as the soul god.
Oh, Akhenaten.
Over the pantheon.
You're thinking about Akhenaten.
Yeah.
Who is my personal favorite pharaoh of Egypt, the father of Tutankhamun, husband of Nefertiti, and fascinating historical figure who there's lots of ideas about. He took Egypt away from worshipping the pantheon and replaced them with the Aten, the sun disk, which basically the sun itself, and he was its sort of only person who could communicate with it and
Funny
tell
how
people
that
everything.
works.
Well, that was usual for ancient Egyptian
I
gods.
know,
The
divine
connection
right
with
of
divinity.
I just think that was funny. It's like, there's a new god, but somehow I'm the only one who can talk to him. Funny how that works.
And if the dates, if I remember correctly about the dates, this predates Judaism and Zoroastrianism as the first example of monotheism. Of course, Akhenaten, basically, after he stopped being pharaoh, I think he died, but there is...
We're pretty sure he died.
Well, I remember also reading things that there some people had ideas that maybe he was driven off into the desert. And here's the hilarious thing.
Well, he would have eventually died by now.
Well, yes, but if he was driven off into the desert, the theory is, this is probably not a very popular historical theory, is that he might have become the inspiration for Moses.
True this, it's possible, but he's still dead by now.
Yes, he's dead by now. But as soon as he took over,
We're pretty sure. If you're Akhenaten, write the show.
Tutankamen renamed himself Tutankhamun because he had Akhenaten, they had the word Aten in their name, it became Khamun, and then he died very young, and he was replaced by the next pharaoh, because obviously being like a 12-year-old who was severely crippled, all his life, he had no because the reason he was
inbreeding is bad, folks.
Yeah, the Egyptian royalty would inbreed like fuck, like motherfuckers, literally. Tutankhamun's replacement was the previous vizier, guess that was his name. It was basically like a Jafar situation where Tutankhamun died.
He had like a bitchin' mustache.
Well, he was played by Sir Ben Kingsley in this TV biography of Tutankhamun, which took this 12-year-old crippled kid and turned him into like an 18-year-old warrior kid, which was just hilarious. But when Tutankhamun died, whether it was accident, murder, just natural causes, whatever, the vizier took over and he became the next pharaoh. And I believe he started a whole new dynasty.
But yeah. Oh, no, also another thing is, so far, the voice acting is sounds very, very African. And that makes me happy. Because I don't I know why it makes sense to us, but I don't like the whole, the ancient world, just like fantasy, is always English.
I would have gone for more Middle Eastern, but yeah, it's better than having them all speaking with English accent.
Although it does sound like your man who played Thoth in Gods of Egypt.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, where he was actually permitted to act.
Unlike Black Panther.
Yeah, we saw Gods of Egypt, and I was things that were good about this movie. That's kind of clever about how they had the gods' bodies being the CGI was okay, and that guy that played the wisdom god, he was cool, and you were like, oh, so and so. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You're like, you know him. I do. He's Black Panther. You mean this is what he looks like acting?
Yeah, Omega hates Black Panther.
I don't hate Black Panther. I just feel like your man.
He's so stoic.
Yeah, but the thing is that he kind of in Civil War, it was kind of like, okay, I will be in this movie, but I refuse to act. I will not act. I am in this movie under duress. I will stand here. You cannot make me act. Even if you hold a gun to my head, I will not act. I am under protest. But and I understand why, but it just seems like he was just so angry that he had to be in Civil War.
He's so stoic.
I wanted to have my own movie first. But then, in Gods of Egypt, he's literally the only good thing about Gods of Egypt, which is basically Jaime Lannister with his shirt off running around the desert.
Yeah, Gods of Egypt is
so bad.
Conceptually it was glorious.
Yeah.
Because they've gone full on demented Egyptian mythology with the real world.
Yeah. And that's cool, except the fact that there were very few Egyptians of Egyptian color.
Yes. Yes,
everybody be white except for your man who be black.
Everything except for that, it was problems, but just the idea of where you've got okay, the gods exist. Although
not even Hispanic. What
they have a Dane and a Scottish guy playing the two main Egyptian gods.
I was talking about today. What did Garvin say? He said something like, not even people with a tan.
But then they change little things with the gods, what they do and everything, which is crap. But then they have wonderful shit like Ra. The sun is literally a spaceship which Ra is rowing across the heavens, and every night he fucking battles the giant fucking darkness monster, and it's
that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's I want more films that deal with mythology just to show the mythology nakedly as ridiculously as you can. Noah. Noah had this thing where you got the rock angels and shit like that. I can't remember what version of the Bible includes the rock angels, but they do exist in certain versions.
Voyage of the Rock Angels.
Oh, they should. You got that shit there, but then you've also got the you got the very end, you got the rainbow, the first rainbow, where you see the entire sky turns into a fucking like light show. And you've also got it's and these were decent ideas. These were decent ideas. I really wish that they sort of run with this madness, extrapolating from the source material. Like, for instance, Noah's family are supposed to be the only survivors of this precursor group of humanity.
They went forth and knew their wives,
and they become the parents of the new human race. Okay, fine. What they should have done is make Noah's family incredibly ethnically mixed. A father, maybe Noah is Russell Crowe, and then you get a black lady as his wife. You get children being someone who's Asian, someone who's South American. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But then you have all the ones who die. Most of them are like humans with skin colors that don't exist, like green skin, yellow skin. These are all types of humans who died off, and
that's fantastic.
Yeah, you got shit like that, and then for instance, what else? You've got in the Bible, you've got the earth is not meant to be as it is. It's supposed to be in a water canopy. Like, the reason the water could come through was because the earth is meant to be inside like a glass case, and above it is water, and basically God opened up holes, and that's where rain comes from. So what they should have done is done some sort of CGI stuff over the sky, so it looked like you were looking at the sun through a prism, through water.
Like kind of like the holodeck or something.
Yeah, just these subtle little things to get across the bizarreness of the biblical myth, because the Bible is bizarre too, and if you're doing the myth, go all out.
That's because, a lot of people, as much pomp and circumstance is wrapped up in our modern, predominantly monotheistic religions, we came up with some batshit notions, and here's the thing, that's really awesome, and it's really understandable as well. Neanderthal men, first of all, was capable of speech. They did have the modern human variant of the FOXP2 gene, so they were capable of human speech. We've actually, so I think some scientist somewhere, this was about a year or so ago, was able to get a voice actor to approximate how Neanderthal speech would have sounded based on their physiology. But they had religion. Yeah. That we've found Neanderthal graves where they were buried in specific ways, facing specific directions, with their bodies positioned with ritual objects. So, the idea of the primordial fallacies, the kind of as above, so below, I can affect things, therefore things that I don't understand can affect me. That's why I'm an evolutionary psychologist. That whole idea that sun worship and moon worship, because these were such important things in early humans' lives, that of course they would see these things, these light bringers that just came and brought things into their lives, as they would personify them. Who wouldn't? Yeah. Like those the caves in France. I saw this great documentary about those cave paintings that they actually figured out was a primitive calendar. Like the animal, okay, this is when this animal ruts. This is when this animal reproduces. It's always at the same time of the year. This is summer when the antelopes reproduce. It's fascinating. And the thing is that, people want to think that they're so high and mighty saying the Mass in Latin, or, all of their beliefs and stuff like that. You're basically upholding Bronze Age beliefs that are not reminiscent of, but they are concentric echoes of our most primal fallacies, our most primal beliefs about the world. Sorry, that became a lecture, but I'm allowed because I'm a doctoral student.
But they're much less, but the
Assassin's Creed.
But they're much less interesting than the pre-monotheistic ones. Yeah. While Akhenaten's fascinating that he possibly invented monotheism, monotheism generally is much more boring than polytheism.
Yeah, because gods tend to get into it with each other.
Akhenaten is also a kick-ass opera by Philip Glass.
It always comes back to Philip Glass with me, doesn't it?
It should.
What else is happening in our lives? Yeah, we're going to Amsterdam and for a few days in early December, right before the term ends, because on the term ends, for those 3 weeks, I can work as many hours as my boss wants to give me, so he specifically chose to go where I would lose the least amount of work hours, but that's my holiday to keep me from
Yeah, we're gonna go
Go
to the
Retro.
Rembrandt Plaza and hope that there's a Christmas market.
No, there's gonna be. There always is, apparently.
Good.
And we're gonna go to the Rijksmuseum because we didn't go last time. We didn't have time.
Yeah, last time we managed the bad torch museum. It was torturous to sit through. We went to the Sex Museum. We did a canal boat tour. We did.
The Sex
Body
Museum was
World.
great because I have that picture. I was like, there was this big, huge penis. And I was like, here, I want to get a picture of you next to the penis. And like, hold on. So she pulls out the street map, and it looked like you're consulting like the 10-foot penis for directions. It's fantastic.
We went to Body World. Did we do anything else?
Oh my god, that was so horrifying, Body World.
That was awesome.
She thought, what? No, okay. See, she's like, oh, can we go to the Amsterdam dungeon? I'm like, no. Because I don't like the dungeons because they're haunted houses, and I was traumatized by a haunted house when I was wee. I've told the story on a different episode. I'm sure you've heard it before. But so, I was like, I don't like the dungeons. They're just haunted houses. No. And then she was like, oh. And then she's like, oh, look, Body World is here. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, your man that plasticizes dead bodies. I was like, no. I already said no to one thing, and I was like, fine. But fortunately, we went to a coffee house before that, and I tell you what, it really takes the edge off of looking at these things and like, this is someone's body. They died. They were living. I'm gonna die someday. I'm gonna be a dead body. Oh, but I'm high. It's grand.
And I became addicted to Fantacassus.
Well, it's nasty.
I love it.
It's like sour, evil cranberries.
It is so awesome. I'm gonna buy so many bottles.
Blech.
I hope do we have whole baggage for that trip?
Can't remember.
I hope we do, so I can bring some back.
Aye. But we may meet up with our friend Dutchtica.
I would like to meet up with Dutchtica.
Who we have never met in real life.
Oh, I don't know if they live in Amsterdam though. But yeah, this time we're gonna go to the other torture museum in the hope that it's better.
The good one. Gonna eat churros with Nutella. See, the last time we were there, I had a gallstone, and so I had to be quite careful what I ate. But now, fuck that noise. Let's just eat just everything.
Yeah, so we never managed to get Indonesian food last time. We're gonna see if we can find that Argentinian place again. The such nice Argentinian place.
We were looking like at different places to eat, and there was this guy, the South African guy, sitting outside, and he's like, "Oh, I can't even do a South African accent. I'm not even gonna try." But he's like, "Oh, I bet you like steaks." And we were like, I was like, well, actually, she doesn't like beef, and I have some dietary restrictions right now. And he goes, yeah, but you like pork ribs. And that was the magic word. You're like, I do like pork ribs. He goes, well, I mean, we can do you chicken. I was like, that sounds great. He's like, you like potatoes, don't you? I said, yeah. He goes, we can just do one on the grill. We don't have to fry it. Come on in. And he won us over.
He's the owner of the place, and so he basically found out that our dietary needs, and he insisted that they do them right for us. And
he was good crack.
And when he found out that I really liked garlic stuff,
oh yeah,
basically he made them as garlicky as possible, and
I think the way that you put it was, my mouth is burning. I'm so happy.
My mouth is burning, but somehow it's still not garlicky enough.
No, it was really great.
If we find that place again, we're going to it. That's like down the road from the Rembrandt Plaza, near the giant fucking table.
I want to get.
If it's still there.
I want to get one of those twisty potatoes.
Oh yeah, they were cool.
Deep fried potatoes. We have to get. They have real pickles made with real European cucumbers, not this nasty English cucumber carry-on.
And we got some smoked herring, which we both liked.
Lovely. We got pickled herring, which I thought was good, but not as good as the smoked herring. They don't have fudge though, so we'll have to go to Belfast to get Christmas fudge.
Well, George was interested in knowing if we were going to the market in Belfast.
No, if we are, if we have time to get up there, we should communicate that. But well, you were about to say something.
We have like 2 weeks till we're going to that. So if any of you have any suggestions what to do in Amsterdam, please let us know. I mean,
what do you mean?
If it's possible,
don't say the red light district, because pretty much like a fourth of the entire city is the red light district.
This is true. And don't say I should try a Titan burger at KFC, because I did. It's just a Zinger Tower meal, but bigger.
You know what the best thing is about Amsterdam though? If you ever go,
so flat.
It is. It's so flat. You can just walk the whole city, and you'll see like multi-story car parks for bikes. And Dutch people are friendly. Like, they'll just come up and start talking English to you. They don't even have to hear you speak English. And also the place that we stayed the first time had a cat.
Yeah, it was just stayed in the reception. It was amazing.
And you were like, I love this place. It has a cat. Like, the guy looked up and goes, oh, hello. And he just shoves the cat off the desk. I need this space now. But yeah, so if you, I mean, a lot of people go like, oh, you know, the craziness, you can hire prostitutes and it's fine, you can smoke weed and it's fine, but there's more than that to do, you know, like, yeah. I'm not saying that that's not awesome, because we did go to one coffee house, which was quite touristy, but we ended up watching, like, one of the Underworld movies in English with Dutch subtitles, and, like, there was, like a waitress kind of person who came around and just was like, look at all these treats. Do you want the treats? And there was, like, an English college student sitting across from us. So, oh my gosh, she just came around, there's a big, huge sundae. She goes, would you like a sundae? And he goes, oh, how much is it? And she's like, oh, €7 or something like that. And he's like, oh, fantastic. Just like, start eating it. It was great.
Yeah, these guys worked out how to run a business.
Or the canal tour. We should do that at least once. That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get to see the Anne Frank house because you have to queue quite early in the morning.
Yeah.
Although, weren't we hanging out, like, talking about this in a shop and someone said buy tickets online?
You probably can, even if they weren't, you probably can buy tickets online.
So we're going to try to, maybe, we'll see.
I would like to, if we can get there in public transport, to go to the microbe zoo.
Oh, yeah. I want to see the microbes in the zoo and feed them peanuts. I know, that's not how that works. But so...
Because, microbes, you can tell someone is writing some sort of Dutch dystopian, a post-apocalyptic future thing where some sort of horrible disaster happened in the microbe zoo.
It is.
Because it's a zoo for microbes. Something's going to go wrong.
They eat and they be happy.
And they got out, someone dropped something, and oh no, everyone's flesh has melted.
So that's immediately how microbes work. But...
Yeah.
So we're coming up on the end of this episode, but I wanted to say... if you have a chance in the next few weeks, if you have a bit of spare money that you'd like to get rid of, I think you should probably look up a local cancer charity. Not anything big, like if you want to give to the American Cancer Association or Society, anything like that. But if there's like a local association or a local hospice in your area, I mean, we have Foyle Hospice here in Derry, and there's also like local like cancer charities, or even something as simple as like volunteering some time, like, for a cancer ward, or if there's a pediatric cancer ward near you, seeing if there's anything you can donate or anything that they need or any time you can spend. Just, I think that'd be a really, really great thing to do coming up to the holiday season.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I just agree.
We agree with that. So that has been this episode of Lesbian Talk. I have been the Omega Geek, and honey, who do you have one to have been this week? She said quietly, as the cars passed by on the streets below, knowing that because I'm so busy I won't have time to do any sound editing, so she better think of something pretty damn quickly, or I'll just stop the record now and we'll never know.
Akhenaten.
Fair enough. Bye, you guys. Love you, audience.